everyone. Welcome to week 7. We're almost done. You guys have done so great. You're in that final stretch. So be looking for your week 6 work, which is your Andy Goldsworthy sculptures out in the real world, out in nature, and your film reviews. And those take me a little bit longer to grade, those film reviews, so please give me till Friday of this week. I know get things done Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, but give me till Friday to get all those assignments in, and let me know if you have any questions. I'm really looking forward to reading those. The film reviews are always really interesting, and your earth sculptures are always really, really cool to see. So I hope that you had a good attitude and that you enjoyed it. I hope that the storm didn't get in the way too much. I know you guys had a huge storm last week out in California, but I hope that the rain was a good thing. I know how dry it can get out there. Okay, so week 7. This week is about art in the church, and this is a relatively light week as far as what is actually due. The only thing you physically have due is a discussion board. There's no quiz this week. I always kick out the week 7 quiz. And the reason I make this a lighter week is because I really, really want you to focus on your capstone project. So I'm giving you pretty much 2 weeks to get that done. So start working on it now in week 7, and that way in week 8, you'll feel ramped up and like you got this. Also, just keep in mind that week 8, all your work is due on Friday. So instead of on Sunday, when the class technically ends, so the class will end, let's see, what is that, March 5th, I believe it is? Let me double check that. Yep, I was right. March 5th is when the class ends officially, so your work is due on March 3rd, and that way it gives me the weekend to get your work graded, because come Monday, the 6th of March, at 4 p.m., your final grades are due from me. So if I were to have you turn in your capstone projects by Sunday night at midnight, and then I would have less than 24 hours to get all those big papers graded, and it's just a little too much for my brain to handle. So that way, you're done on the 5th. You have the weekend to just breathe before you start a next class on Monday, because I know that we roll right in when we're doing the ops classes. It's Monday. I'm having trouble getting my words out. Okay. So this week, I want you to read the Francis Schaeffer essay from Art in the Bible, Some Reflections on Art, and this is what your capstone project is based on. We have a discussion board that's going to use some of those ideas, and we're going to look at a contemporary artist named Makoto Fujimura, and then you're going to work on your capstone project. So I'll go over that in just a second. And remember that all your work this week is still due day 7 at midnight. So this coming Sunday midnight is when your work is due. So once you do your reading, we want to dive into this discussion board. And so I've given you a couple clips about artist Makoto Fujimura, and they're both relatively short, under 10 minutes. And you can select the links below, or you can just click here and it will take you to his website, and the Golden Sea one is right here, and then you can follow this link and it should, there we go, pop up. This is a really interesting collection that he did several years ago for the 400th anniversary of the King James Bible. Now, Fujimura is an abstract artist. His work is non-representational, and yet he's using a lot of Christian themes and the Christian narrative in his work. And so I like exposing students to artists like Fujimura, because we tend to think really transparently when it comes to quote unquote Christian artists and Christian artwork, that it should be a painting of Jesus or something that is very clearly delineated, that we can say, okay, this is this story, this is what this means. And there's a lot of artists that think, well, that box is a little too small for us to work in when it comes to exploring this idea of belief and spirituality in the Christian realm. And so Fujimura has some really cool ideas, I think. And so I'm not going to dive into them too much, because I want you to explore that yourself. So you might want to go up and click on his bio and read a little bit about who he is. Go ahead and click on his works and browse through his collections. And, you may be someone that looks at the work and says, okay, I don't get it. I don't see how this could be Christian artwork. But it takes kind of, understanding his perspective, where he's coming from, and getting below the surface a little bit. And Fujimura really believes that creating art, doing something that is acting upon a gift that God has given us, is then in fact an act of worship, because we're celebrating the Creator who created us and gave us these gifts. So I think that's a really neat perspective. So go ahead and explore Fujimura's work. And then what I'd like you to do is, after you've explored that and you've read our essay from Schaeffer, answer the following questions. So consider the quote, "As a Christian, we know why a work of art has value." Why? First, because a work of art is a work of creativity, and creativity has value because God is the creator. So it's kind of what I was just talking about. How can we apply this quote to the work of Fujimura? Number two, does an artist like Fujimura change your perspective on Christian art? Why or why not? Again, maybe you are someone who's always thought if it's a Christian artwork, if it's Christian artwork, it's a Christian, quote unquote, Christian artist, then they should be working in very cut and dry subject matter. It should be very clear what it is. Or you may say, hey, I've always enjoyed this perspective of, kind of this out of the box thinking when it comes to representing, God and Christ from a personal perspective. So number three, what is the job of a Christian artist? And this is where I really want you to incorporate Schaeffer, because this is a lot of what he's talking about in art in the Bible. Make sure that you comment on at least one of your peers' posts. Do you like Fujimura's art? Why or why not? Might be something you would consider asking. Again, 2 to 4 sentences in length, the minimum. This is the one thing you got to do this week. So dive into it. Take some time. Really consider these ideas. Think about it. You will also be graded, of course, on your participation. Be sure to ask questions and answer when asked. Okay, that's all you got to do this week. So I'm going to jump over to your capstone project. And if you go to the week 8 learning activities, you can download the PDF that is your instructions for this assignment. And I'll go over this now since I want you to start working on it now, and then we can kind of hit on a few points in next week's announcement video as well. So, art in the Bible, really powerful, very relative text, I think, in the contemporary art world. And in understanding Christian art. And I don't necessarily agree 100% with everything that Schaeffer says here, but I do really enjoy his perspectives, and they're really intuitive, and they get you thinking. And I think they're a good place to start when we're considering how we should understand and analyze Christian art in the contemporary world. This is a big paper, 10 to 12 pages. That's 10 to 12 pages of text. That doesn't count putting a full page of an image, say. That's not one page. So give me 10 to 12 pages of good, solid text. And you're going to do that by giving me 3 individual case studies. And a case study, if you don't know or aren't sure what that is, what that looks like, you can come down here and click on this link. And I've broken my own rule about using Wikipedia. And I've given you the link to the Wikipedia page on a case study, just so you can have a little bit of an idea of what that is and what a case study looks like. Okay. Basically, you're going to pick 3 of Schaeffer's 11 perspectives. So throughout this essay, he writes 11 perspectives on how we should look at Christian art and analyze it. You're going to pick 3 of those. So 1 per case study, okay? 1 perspective per case study for 3 total case studies, right? So I won't read through these because these are all in your text, so I'll let you do that on your own time. But pick the 3 that speak to you the most and that you think, okay, I can really get into this one. Once you've selected these 3, you're going to begin researching artists and work of art that illustrates this perspective. So your chosen artist must be from the 20th or 21st century, because we are contemporary visual arts and culture after all, and we want to use Schaeffer to apply it to this contemporary world. These do not need to be Christian artists. It can be, but they do not have to be by any means, because there are a lot of artists throughout history. You can go into the 20th century, so you can write about an artist from the 19 teens if you want. You can write about Picasso if you want. A lot of artists that dealt with spiritual issues that maybe weren't quote unquote Christian artists, but they engaged in that material. And so how do we as a Christian then look at these works and analyze them from our worldview? So consider browsing the following websites for inspiration. So I've given you a couple of places to look. Another one is the Chicago Art Institute is a really good one. But I want you to be getting works from, legitimate, solid sources. So that's why I give you these. So don't just Google Christian art and pull some random image of some random artist that you can't really verify. You don't know where it came from. You can't find any information about the artist. We want to stay away from that, okay? So each case study must include the following. And so I encourage you for each case study to write an outline. Outlines are so helpful, right? So it will help you break down. It will help you see when I'm writing, if I have to have a certain amount of pages or a limit, I will outline my paper and say, this is how long I want this section to be. I want this section to be 4 pages. I want this section to be 2 pages. I want this section to be 10 pages, whatever it might be that I'm writing. It helps me break it down and take it in kind of bite-sized chunks. So I know for some of you, a 10 to 12 page paper sounds intimidating, but if you break it down and say, okay, I need to write 3 to 4 pages for each case study. I'm going to break it down that way. My introduction can be half of a page. The section can be 2 pages. The section can be 1 page. Just break it down into bite-sized chunks, and that will really help you work through it. So I want an introduction to the perspective being studied, including a direct quotation from the text. So this is quoting that case study. So you're going to actually put the case, that perspective in your case study, quote it. So it might be a work of art has value in itself. That's his first one. This is where you will tell your reader why Schaeffer believed this perspective to be true. So you're analyzing Schaeffer here. Use supporting evidence from both the text and any outside sources you might do. You may want to research how other scholars and theologians have interpreted this perspective. So you want to include an introduction to the image used for the case study. Think of your reader as being someone who has never seen this image before. What would be important for them to understand about this artist in this image? So we're going to use Panofsky's intrinsic level. Just the intrinsic level. Without fail, every time I teach this class, I get students who take all this time walking through all 3 of Panofsky's levels, and I say, that doesn't even count for me because you don't need that section. Don't do it. You're going to just briefly introduce the artwork and the artist, and then you're going to dive into this contextual level, right, of Panofsky, this intrinsic level, just the 3rd level. I'm going to emphasize that. Okay, this is going to give your reader context to the image. So why was this image created? What does it mean for the artist who created it? So this you will absolutely want to include outside research to validate those claims. Remember, we're not basing things off opinion. We're basing them off of analysis and research. So the image being discussed, include your image. Always, always, when you're writing about artwork, when in doubt, put the actual physical image in the work. People want to see what it is you're talking about, right, when it comes to art. Sometimes, I tell students, you can break the rule there, say if you're commenting about a really iconic work of art, if you're talking about the Sistine Chapel or the Mona Lisa or something of that nature, people, they can conjure up that image like that in their head. But if you're talking about Picasso's Guernica or Demoiselles d'Avignon or, a specific painting by Jackson Pollock or Dali or Damien Hirst or whoever it might be, you need to include that because your reader needs to be able to see it. You don't want them to have to stop reading, look up your image, and then come back to your writing, right? So again, proper citation, you should know how to do those by now. Okay, we want to see an assessment of how this image is a good example of the perspective being discussed. This is the culminating point of your case study. So all that information that you're giving, this is what Schaeffer says. This is what he's trying to explain to us. This is an image that's a good example of this, and this is who this artist is, and giving that intrinsic level of Panofsky. And then all that is building up to this moment. This is the aha moment. Don't overlook it. So you want to say, okay, I've explained Schaeffer's perspective to you. I've picked an artwork, and I'm going to tell you why that artwork is a really great example of what Schaeffer was talking about. So include supporting evidence from the text and any appropriate outside sources to support your position. Finally, I want a personal reflection on why you find this artwork powerful or thought-provoking. Here and here only in each case study is it appropriate for you to use first-person narrative voice. So you can say, I, me, my. So I'm giving you this opportunity within this assignment to give me some really strong analysis and some really strong research, and then some really strong personal reflection time, okay? So I'm giving you both ends of the spectrum. And then make sure that you give each, I don't know why it doesn't say it here, I should have put that in here. It goes without saying that each of these case studies, we want a nice, a decent little conclusion, because then you can sum that up. So each case study must include a minimum of 3 outside sources. One of these can be the Schaeffer text per case study. So really, if you were doing 3 sources for each case study, you can have Schaeffer plus 2 in each of those, okay? Does that make sense? So in each of those case studies, one of the 3 can be the Schaeffer text. You may want to explore art journals, museum websites, or news sources for your other research resources. If you have questions, or you're more than welcome. I don't know why more students don't come to me. You are more than welcome to say, hey, this is the perspective I'm using. This is the artwork I'm using. I'm having a little trouble finding some research here. Can you help steer me in the right direction? Or we can have a discussion about it. I love that. Okay. Formatting, good. I know this is getting a little tedious, but I always like to walk through this assignment in as much detail as I can. Your paper, either MLA or APA, style guides found here or here. I don't care which one you use, as long as you pick one and you stay consistent throughout the paper. Images must be no smaller than 4 inches in size on your paper, and that's just so that your reader, but your reader can see the image. We want a decent size image here, right? Don't give me some tiny little clip, thumbnail, that's what it's called, a thumbnail image. Monday. Don't give me a tiny little thumbnail that I can't see this work of art, okay? Give me something substantial on the page. And you can include your images in the body of your text in the case study, or you can include it at the end of the case study. I prefer it to be right in the body of the text. I like to see it as you're describing it and reading it. That's just me. You won't get graded down if you put it somewhere else, but that's just what I prefer when I'm writing. Okay, strong introductory paragraph, 3 case studies. So you're giving me an introduction to the whole paper. Break down your formatting by case study. So give me a subtitle, case study 1, with the perspective or the artist you're going to be talking about. And then within the case studies, break it down with subtitles. You can do Panofsky's intrinsic level. You can do Schaeffer's perspective. You can do personal reflection. Break it down. Let your reader know exactly what it is they're going to be reading about and understanding in that section. And of course, I want strong conclusion paragraph. In your conclusion, consider overall how Schaeffer is a useful tool for looking at art from a Christian perspective. So that's at the end of your paper after all 3 case studies, right? Just give me a nice paragraph wrapping everything up. Tie that ribbon, right? Your paper must include a works cited or bibliography section with a minimum of 7 sources, okay? Because if we have Schaeffer as 1 per each 3, that's 2, 4, 6 other sources plus Schaeffer, that's 7, right? That we want to see. And again, see those above style guides for how to do citations. Please include in-text citations if you directly quote or paraphrase ideas from outside sources. Use footnotes or endnotes accordingly. This tells your reader where specifically your information comes from, and you can see the style guides for that as well. When in doubt, put an in-text citation. It helps your reader know, not just when you do a bibliography, they can tell, okay, I know overall these are the sources they got their information from, but I don't know what specifically came from where. So it helps someone who wants to read further. I mean, just think, your papers are going to be so compelling that I'm just going to want to go and do all this research. I'm going to want to go and read all those sources you found, give yourself some credit, and that's part of it, is giving those in-text citations, and it's giving credit to who came up with those ideas as well. Your paper must not use first-person narrative voice except in the personal reflection section. That's why I think it's important that you break it down by subtitles so that your reader knows this is a little bit of a change in narrative voice here. And last but not least at all, proofread your paper for grammar, formatting, spelling before submitting. This is an upper division course. We're 387 level course. We're almost up there in 400, right? Your writing should reflect this, right? We want to see proper formatting, good spelling, good sentence structure. If your writing doesn't look good visually, then subconsciously readers just assume that the content's not going to be great either. If you struggle with writing papers, you may want to consider submitting it to Smart Thinking, our online tutoring program, before submitting it for a grade. And you can find that on the Tutoring Online tab in the left-hand menu here in Blackboard. It's right here. Okay, long-winded, I know, but I want to make sure that we go over that. Make sure also that you go into the week 8 learning activities and look at the Monday, the rubric for this assignment. You'll see how I'm going to grade it and break down your paper. Any questions, please let me know. So get me those discussion boards. Be looking for your week 6 grades by Friday, and really get going on these capstone projects. Have a great week.